Chapter 26. When Nefertiti leaves to attend to her duties, I return to the quay and find the spot where the high priest and I moored the boat. It's gone. I spend the rest of the morning and a good part of the afternoon walking up and down the quay looking for it, but it's nowhere to be found. Did the high priest move it, or someone else? Was he on the boat when it was moved, or somewhere else? Most important, where is he now? I hate to admit it, but I need his guidance. According to the calendar in the king's house, today is the 3rd day of the month of Epip, which means we arrived here on the day prior to the beginning of Nefertiti's lost 10 days, the last day of the month of Peony, just as the high priest had prayed for. Poor high priest, to think I doubted him. I have 7 days left to see what caused Nefertiti's amnesia. I'm assuming it was sudden. But how do I know something hasn't already happened in the last 3 days that will eventually cause her amnesia? Confused and dejected, I walk back to the king's house, find a shadowy spot in the garden near the tool shed, and, exhausted, collapse into a dreamless sleep. Much later, having attended to my bodily functions behind an acacia tree, I remember the glass eye and my resolve to punish Thutmose. I return to the bedchamber and look for the eye where I saw it fall. It's not there. It's probably been found by a maid or swept somewhere by her broom. I search further and, sure enough, the eye looks back at me from under the bed. I take it in my mouth and return to the garden to bury it. As I'm digging, I begin to have second thoughts about punishing Thutmose. Tia told the girls that Nefertiti intended to return the eye to him when she felt he had suffered enough. It would ruin her plans if the eye went missing. "What do you think this is, a toilet?" cries a man's angry voice. I'm so startled I swallow the eye. Oh, for the love of the gods, that's going to be painful to pass. I turn to face the man, a gardener who looks as angry as he sounds. As I make my retreat, I consider how lucky I am he didn't catch me behind the acacia tree, doing exactly what he's accused me of. In the days that follow, I don't try to find the high priest again. I have to believe he'll find me by finding Nefertiti as I did. He's sure to be searching for her urgently. Better I stay near Nefertiti. After all, my mission is to learn how she lost her memory. I remain in the king's house, resting, eating, and keeping a low profile, just in case some excitable girl should get it into her head to scoop me up. Today is the 9th day of Epip, and still, as far as I know, nothing unusual has happened. But the time has not been completely uneventful. 2 days ago, Nefertiti sent a letter to her husband, Akhenaten, at the North Palace. I was by her side when she composed it. She was trying to reconcile with him. Remembering what she'd said to me that night at the Great Temple, I doubted she'd succeed. Early this morning, she received his answer. The servant's whispers tell me her attempt at reconciliation has been met with scorn. It's now late morning, and despite Tia's many urgings, Nefertiti is still in bed. I'm with her, at her feet, afraid to leave her alone. "Let me be," she tells Tia, who gives up and disappears behind the curtain over the entrance to the chamber. I remain still, with one eye on the queen. When she begins to sob, I crawl up to her chest. She's covered her face with her hands. I nudge her and she lowers them. "Oh, Tati," she whispers, cupping my face, her tear-filled eyes looking into mine. "Will I ever meet your master, Bolione, again?" "Not if I can help it, my queen." "I must. He is the only ray of sunshine in an otherwise dark, dark existence." "Ah, I see." I paw at her face gently, and she kisses my forehead. Like a crazed horse, my heart races at a frantic gallop. I lick her nose in return. She laughs. She releases my head, and I regain control of my heart's reins. "Tia!" she calls out. Tia peeks from behind the curtain. "I wish to bathe," Nefertiti says, "and have the chief steward send word to have the royal barge made ready. We are going for a cruise on the Nile." Tia, looking relieved, comes in to help the queen out of bed. "Do you wish the cat to accompany you?" "Of course." "Well, carrying him in my arms has proven difficult. He's way too fat." "I'll bring a basket for him." "As you wish," says Nefertiti, as she leaves the chamber with Tia following. I'm so happy to see Nefertiti in a better mood that I don't dwell on Tia's uncalled-for remark about my weight. Besides, I've something more important to think about. How to fulfill Nefertiti's wish to meet Polione again. I have it! On the table next to Nefertiti's cosmetic box is a small sheet of papyrus and a writing kit, a palette containing dry ink, reed pens, and a little jar. I pour a little water from a glass into the jar, dip the tip of a reed in it, brush the tip over the dry ink, and then, holding the reed firmly between my paws, I begin to compose. When Nefertiti is ready, we leave the king's house and we head for the great palace. She leads the way, walking with the bearing of a lioness, followed by Tia, who carries me in an open-cushioned basket. Lifted by the wind, the bands of the red sash of Nefertiti's gown fly teasingly in front of my face. I can't help pawing at them, and Tia repeatedly pulls me back. Behind us are the girls, all 5. Bringing up the rear are 4 tall Nubian guards for our protection. When we enter the great palace, we go in a straight line across an open court, then over a ramp into another court with at least 24 stelae on each side. Though we're moving fast, I can see that the carvings on the stelae are scenes of the royal family worshipping their god Aten, the disk of the sun. How laden with sadness Nefertiti's heart must be as she passes these reminders of happier times. We walk across yet another court, then enter a courtyard. Nefertiti quickens her pace, the others follow suit, and before I know it, we are exiting the courtyard through a stone gate and walking onto the royal quay. Reaching into the Nile like welcoming giant arms and hands are 2 stone piers and their jetties. Moored at one of the jetties is the royal barge. The hull is covered with festive stripes of turquoise, red, and blue. The prow is painted with life-size portraits of the royal family. The huge carved blue lotus projecting from the stern looks like an actual giant flower. We board the barge and proceed to the Queen's cabin. The wooden pillars flanking the entrance have been carved to resemble trees bearing fruit of precious stones. When we set sail, I sit in my cushioned basket and look out the windows on either side of the cabin. To the east, embraced by the golden cliffs behind it, stretches the city with its white stone temples and whitewashed brick palaces and houses. To the west are cultivated fields, a succession of shades of green punctuated by yellow stripes of ripening wheat. What I don't see, I imagine, orchards bountiful with fragrant fruit and vineyards laden with clusters of grapes. I hear the lapping of the Nile against the hull, the drumming of the wind on the sails, and the high-pitched chatter of gossiping girls mingled with the velvety sighs of the Queen. All this is more inebriating than any drink I've ever had. And if it weren't enough, the Queen takes me onto her lap to scratch me under my chin, which I offer to her fingertips with all my being. The sounds I make, a crescendo of ecstatic purrs, drown out all the others. Drunk with pleasure, I fall off the Queen's lap. She, Tia, and the girls burst out laughing. I get up and, with tail on high, leave the cabin. They laugh even harder. Hearing giggling behind me, I turn around to see Heket trying to grab me and escape just in time. I flee to the very tip of the giant lotus on the stern. As I sit keeping an eye on the silly girl, I'm stared at by the carved effigy of Nefertiti on the top of the rudder. There's no escaping women, is there? Nefertiti remains in good spirits throughout the day, and in the evening before retiring she tells Tia that tomorrow she wishes to go to Maru Aten for a picnic. Tia is to inform their chief steward to have the chariots ready, and to send word to Maru Aten ahead of her arrival. Unfortunately, she tells Tia to bring the girls as well. Whatever games the girls will be playing at Maru Aten, no matter how much fun their games might seem, I'm keeping my distance. Last time I joined in, I ended up imprisoned in a chest. It takes me a long while to fall asleep. I'm too excited thinking of the joy of exploring a new place and of savoring the delicacies at the picnic.